Imagine this, a girl heading to a big job interview, but instead of a smooth ride, she gets trapped by her own family, brothers who turn hunters. They hold her captive, force her into their dark secrets, and things spiral fast. Just when you think you've seen it all, bam, a deadly explosion flips the whole game. This is a story of survival, betrayal, and a fight that burns everything to the ground. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Dropping a like and a comment is the least you can do to show some love. And like we always say, even if some stories seem the same, they ain't never the same when I'm the one telling it. The movie opens on Sawyer, a college senior with big dreams and even bigger worries. She's out for a run, sweat dripping down her face when her phone rings. It's the call she's been waiting for, an interview in Washington that could change her life. Excitement floods her, but there's a catch. The trip is far away, and her family's big festival, a rare moment when everyone comes together to celebrate, is just days away. Sawyer faces a choice. She packs her things quietly, not telling anyone, and sets off alone in her car toward Washington. The road ahead isn't easy. Festival traffic snarls the usual route, a sea of brake lights and slow-moving cars. But Sawyer is determined. She takes a detour, a back road she hopes will get her back on track. The night feels heavy, almost like the calm before a storm. Every mile she drives pulls her further from home and closer to the unknown. As Sawyer presses on, hope fades fast. The road she chose is suddenly blocked, closed without warning. No signal for her phone, no GPS to guide her, just an old paper map clenched tightly in her hands. She chooses a third, unfamiliar path, trusting the crinkled map to lead her through the dark unknown. She drives for miles, then pulls over to check her route. The night air is cold, heavy with silence. As she steps out, headlights flash suddenly. A car screeches to a stop right in front of hers. Two boys appear from the shadows, brothers at first friendly, their smiles fake as poison, but the charm fades. Their words twist dark, their tone sharp. When one gets too close, Sawyer fights back hard, a desperate kick, but he grabs her arm. In a sudden move fueled by fear, she pulls out the knife she always carries and stabs him. Without waiting to see the damage, she bolts into the night, heart pounding, lungs burning, desperate to escape. Behind her, the brothers rise, rage filling their eyes like wildfire. Now nothing will stop them. They want her caught, no matter the cost. Sawyer runs like her life depends on it, because it does. Her breath comes in sharp gasps, legs burning as she puts distance between herself and the furious brothers behind her. She escapes their reach, but crashes into a new nightmare, a dense, dark forest where every shadow feels alive. Her leg throbs with pain from an injury she barely noticed in her desperate flight. Exhaustion drags her down, muscles trembling from hours of non-stop running. Thirst claws at her throat, raw and unforgiving. She stumbles toward a faint sound, a stream trickling through the trees. Bending low, she drinks greedily, the cold water barely soothing the dryness in her mouth. Night falls fast, wrapping the forest in thick darkness. Alone, wounded, and scared, Sawyer realizes she has no choice but to face the night here, with danger lurking just beyond the trees. Far away from the forest, a worried woman calls the police. She reports a car left abandoned on the side of the road, standing still for a whole day with no one inside. Soon, a police officer arrives, his headlights cutting through the dusk. He inspects the car carefully, finding nothing inside, but something else catches his eye. Faint, dark marks on the ground, like someone was dragged away. He knocks on nearby doors, following the trail of clues, until he reaches a house. The older brother is there, calm but distant. When asked about the car, he flatly denies knowing anything. Then the younger brother shows up, his shirt stained with blood, the same blood from Sawyer's desperate fight. The officer's eyes narrow with suspicion, but without proof, he says nothing. He leaves quietly, the weight of doubt heavy in the air. Sawyer sits by the cold stream, her injured leg throbbing with every heartbeat. Pain slices through her like fire, but hunger and thirst have drained her even more. She hasn't eaten or drunk properly for over 24 hours. Weak and dizzy, she fights to stay awake, to keep moving. Slowly, painfully, she drags herself forward through the dense forest, each step a battle. Then, from somewhere high above, she hears voices, low, cruel, laughing. She looks up and freezes. A car tumbles down the mountain, crashing through trees and rocks. Her car, thrown over the edge by those ruthless brothers. They destroyed it to stop the police from coming near their house, hoping to trap her in this nightmare forever. By wrecking her only way out, they left her stranded and alone, a prey lost deep in the dark woods. Sawyer stumbles back to her crashed car, hope flickering faintly in her chest. She reaches inside and pulls out her phone, but the screen is cracked, and the battery is almost dead. Even worse, the forest forest swallows any chance of a signal. No bars, no calls, no messages. She's completely cut off from the world. Weakness pulls her down like a heavy stone, and darkness steals her away. When she wakes, the cold bite of the forest is gone. Instead, she's inside a strange house, the air thick and silent. Across from her stands a boy named Lowell. His calm eyes meet hers as he gently unwraps the bandages around her injured leg. But Sawyer's trust is broken. Fear tightens its grip, twisting her thoughts. What if this human isn't a savior? What if he's just another trap? Her voice breaks the silence, sharp and desperate as she shouts for help. Lowell's eyes harden, and with quiet force, he stops her, forbidding her from screaming. Sawyer forces herself to stand, legs shaking like fragile glass beneath her. Her body betrays her, collapsing back to the cold floor as weakness drags her under. Darkness swallows her again, and when she opens her eyes, the nightmare has tightened its grip. Her hands and feet are bound, rough ropes biting into her skin. Lowell stands nearby, his expression unreadable as he hands her a piece of dry bread. The stale taste scratches her throat, but hunger leaves her no choice. He leans in, voice low and sharp, asking the question that cuts through the silence. Why did you come into this forest? Swallowing fear, Sawyer breathes out the story. Every desperate mile, every moment of running, every choice that led her here. Her truth spills out, raw and trembling, laid bare in front of the man who holds her fate. Deep in the shadowy forest, the brothers move with a savage purpose. Their eyes scan every corner, every broken twig, desperate for any sign of Sawyer. Then, they spot a torn piece of her cloth snagged on a branch, proof she's still close, hiding somewhere in the darkness. Fury ignites their veins as they push forward, hunger for revenge burning hotter than ever. Inside the quiet house, Sawyer and Lowell speak in tense whispers. Suddenly, the distant roar of a car engine cuts through the stillness. Sawyer's heart races. She shouts for help, voice cracking with fear and hope. Before her plea can rise any louder, Lowell clamps a hand over her mouth, his voice cold and firm. Keep quiet, let me go and check. Lowell steps outside, and the night holds its breath. The brothers appear, looming figures from the shadows. But then, a twist. Lowell is their cousin. The air thickens with family tension and silent threats. When they demand Sawyer's whereabouts, Lowell's eyes harden. He spits out the lie sharply. I don't know any girl. The brothers don't buy Lowell's words. Their eyes narrow with suspicion as they step inside the house, their presence heavy and threatening. The air grows thick with danger, closing in like a noose. Sawyer seizes the moment, slipping out the door, her heart pounding like a war drum. She ducks behind a damaged truck nearby, the rusted metal offering a fragile shield. Her breath catches in her throat as she presses herself into the shadows, praying they won't find her. When the brothers finally leave, Lowell approaches quietly, his voice low but serious. You made a mistake. You shouldn't have come outside. Now come on, come back inside. But beneath his stern words, there's a flicker of something else. Kindness, even hope. Lowell isn't like his cousins. He's a good man trapped in a bad family, and he wants to protect Sawyer from the darkness that haunts his bloodline. The scene cuts to the police officer we saw earlier, standing under the harsh glare of a flickering streetlight. His senior approaches, voice sharp and demanding, "What's the report on the case? Did you find anything about the car?" The officer's face tightens. There was a girl in that car, missing for days now. We have to find her at any cost and close this case. The weight of the words hangs heavy, but something darker stirs beneath the surface. Later, the same officer returns to the brothers, his tone colder, almost threatening. You made a mistake letting that girl go. This case has gone viral. It's bigger than you think. But here's the twist no one saw coming. The officer isn't just a man of the law. He's crooked, working hand in hand with the brothers, protecting them while the nightmare tightens its grip. Sawyer looks at Lowell, desperation shining in her eyes. Please obey me and let me go from here. I have to go to Washington. It's urgent. I have an interview and it's not far from here. Her voice trembles with hope and fear, begging for a chance to escape this nightmare. Lowell sighs, rubbing the back of his neck. I don't have a car right now, he admits quietly, but my cousins will be gone this weekend. They have a task to do, so I'll have their car then. I can drop you anywhere you need to go. Just please, have patience and stay here. It's only 2 or 3 days. For the first time since this nightmare began, something softens between them. Trust starts to build like fragile glass, and Sawyer begins to believe Lowell isn't just a prisoner in this forest. He might be the only kind human she's found here. Later, the brothers return to Lowell's house, carrying heavy boxes filled with who knows what, their eyes cold and dangerous, like predators closing in on their prey. As they step inside, Lowell calmly lights something, filling the room with thick, choking smoke. The haze swirls and blurs, clouding vision and dulling senses. Seizing the moment, Sawyer slips quietly through the back door, her heart pounding as she races toward the the nearby stream's shore. The cool water feels like a breath of life in the suffocating night. Meanwhile, the brothers cough and stumble through the smoky room, unaware that Sawyer has already slipped away, their own cousin's house no longer the trap they thought it was. At the police station, shadows hide more than just secrets. A sharp-eyed officer uncovers the truth. The corrupt cop is deeply tangled with the brothers, protecting their dark deeds from the law. Determined to stop the rot, the honest officer confronts the traitor. But before justice can take hold, a violent struggle erupts. Gunshots ring out, echoing cold and final. The corrupt officer falls, lifeless on the cold floor. Chaos explodes as the honest cop realizes the stakes are higher than he imagined. With grim resolve, he calls in the brothers. Together, they move the dead body, hiding it away where no one will find it. In the heart of the law, corruption thrives, and the nightmare only deepens. The senior sheriff arrives with a heavy step, his voice cutting through the tense silence like a blade. "Now I'm taking the case from you and handing it over to the state police." The corrupt officer's confident mask slips for the first time. Worry flashes in his eyes. He rushes to the brothers, breath shaky and voice low. "I think we'll be caught now," he admits, panic creeping into every word. Unspoken but clear, this officer isn't just dirty. He's deep in the drug game with the brothers, trafficking poison hidden inside those boxes they carried into Lowell's house. The clock is ticking, and their empire of lies and violence is beginning to crumble. The night air feels colder now, heavy with tension as Lowell and Sawyer sit quietly outside the house, trying to catch their breath. Suddenly, the distant rumble of a car engine breaks the silence. It's the corrupt police officer, his eyes sharp with suspicion. He slows his car and pulls up close, voice low but filled with threat. "I want to search your house." Lowell stands firm, his jaw tight. "No warrant, no search," he says, refusing to let the darkness swallow them whole. But the officer isn't someone to be denied so easily. He calls the brothers, his voice dripping with warning and power. Moments later, they arrive, their faces shadowed and cold. Without hesitation, they storm the house, weapons drawn and ready. Sawyer's heart freezes as the brothers' guns point directly at her and Lowell. "Hands where we can see them," they growl, turning what was a fragile sanctuary into a trap tighter than ever. Lowell's eyes glint cold in the dim light as he leans forward, voice low but steady. "You don't know why I keep her with me. Actually, I've made her a prisoner. She does all my tasks." The cruel truth hangs in the air, heavy and suffocating. Later, Lowell orders Sawyer to make coffee. She moves slowly, her hands trembling as she fills a mug and places it inside the oven. Then she steps back, heart pounding like a trapped animal. Suddenly, a strange voice echoes from the oven's dark chamber, a chilling warning before a massive explosion tears through the house. Flames roar, swallowing walls and memories alike. The younger brother is caught in the blast, his screams cut short in a burst of fire and smoke. The house burns to ashes, fueled by the deadly chemicals Lowell was making all along, a secret he had quietly shared with Sawyer. Lowell and Sawyer stumble out of the burning ruins, smoke curling around them like ghostly fingers. Lowell clutches his bleeding side, his face pale but fierce, while Sawyer stands firm, bruised but unbroken. The fire's heat still burns in the air, but the nightmare isn't over yet. From the shadows, the elder brother appears, his skin blackened and raw, a walking scar of the Inferno's fury. His eyes burn with rage and pain as he moves toward them. Lowell pushes Sawyer back. "Run! Get out of here, now!" But before the elder brother can raise his gun, Lowell grabs him with iron strength, ready to end this nightmare himself. Just as the tension snaps, a gunshot cracks through the night. The corrupt officer steps out from behind the trees, his face cold and ruthless. He shoots the elder brother dead, eliminating one loose end to keep the twisted secrets buried forever. Sawyer sprints through the dark forest, her breath ragged and heart pounding like a war drum. Every shadow seems to reach out, but she pushes forward, desperate for freedom. Finally, she bursts onto the road and spots a police car parked under a flickering streetlight. Relief floods her. This is her chance. Without hesitation, she throws open the door and jumps inside. But the moment she sees the officer's cold, calculating eyes, hope turns to dread. It's the corrupt cop, the nightmare she thought she had escaped. Before she can react, he grabs her roughly and drags her toward the nearby stream. The cold water laps at her ankles as he tries to force her under, his grip like iron chains. Just as she's about to lose consciousness, a glint catches her eye. The screwdriver Lowell gave her has fallen into the water. With trembling hands, Sawyer grabs it and plunges it into the officer's side, breaking free with a scream. Bleeding and stunned, the officer collapses, and Sawyer races toward the main road, battered but alive, fighting with every ounce of strength she has left. Sirens wail through the night as dozens of police cars flood the forest roads. lights cutting through the darkness like sharp blades. The hunt is on, not just for Sawyer, but for the truth buried beneath years of blood and lies. Many murders have stained these woods, and one officer has vanished without a trace, swallowed by the shadows alongside Sawyer. The tension is thick, every breath heavy with fear and hope. Then, suddenly, a flicker of light. A figure stumbles from the trees, battered, bruised, but alive. Sawyer has been found, her fight not yet over, but her life saved from the jaws of darkness. The corrupt officer, that snake in uniform, slips into the night, but the chase is far from over. The law is closing in. If he escapes this time, it won't be for long. The screen fades to black, leaving a lingering chill. The nightmare may have ended, but the scars run deep, and the shadows still whisper. What would you do if you trusted your own family, only to find yourself trapped and fighting for your life? Would you risk everything to escape, or stay silent to survive? Drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I want to hear how you'd handle this deadly twist.